the pledge, and then we will have an invitation for public comment. We'll start with any emailed public comment and then invite our guests who are here for a 3-minute limit time. We'll have a president's report, which will include student recognition and our student school board representative reports. Our superintendent's report, including good news, a strategic planning update, a COVID-19 update, a presentation of the 2021 Illinois school report cards, and then our consent vote agenda. We did have one item that was moved out of our consent agenda, item 3C1, that will be separate as the venue has changed since we discussed it in committee last week. We've got some equipment to dispose of. We'll review the bills and payable and our financial reports, P&P. We will have a vote on our 2022-2023 curriculum proposals and certification and authorization of the fiscal year 21 performance recognition incentive bonus. For F&F, we will discuss and vote on adoption of the 2021 tax levy. And any reports we have from IASB and CEDAW. We'll discuss any future agenda items, and then we will adjourn. So if we could please have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please.
Jim Batson.
Here.
Kara Benjamin.
Here.
Don Carmichael.
Here.
Kara Drumkey. Here. Lisa Hessel.
Here.
Sonal Kulkarni.
Here.
Casey Rooney.
We note that Casey will be arriving a few minutes late. She will join us when she gets here. Okay, time for public comment. Did we have any emailed public comment?
I do not.
Okay, great. Then I'd like to invite members of the public that signed in for public comment. First, Tammy Gale.
First, thank you to the board and the administration for allowing me to speak on behalf of my children and their friends. On November 12th, Dr. Herman sent out an email to parents regarding wanting to create a more inclusive and equitable learning environment for all students as part of the Daring mission and the district racial equity, diversity, inclusion policy. In the commitment section of that policy, it states that the school district commits to ensuring that the schools identify affirming environments where all students, their families, and the community feel safe, welcomed, and valued. Additionally, the policy states ensuring that all students have access to a diverse, multicultural curriculum. Unfortunately, this district is failing. Under the Daring mission, the R stands for resilient and healthy, leading active, healthy, and balanced lifestyles. That's excluding those who pursue the love of hockey. For the purpose of my concern, let's define what equity means. Everyone receives what they need to be successful for the aim of promoting fairness and ultimately achieving equality. That's from the district. Historically, equity means taking a tailored approach to meet the people where they are by recognizing and addressing the historical barriers responsible for existing disparities. It has never been known, strictly as a racial equity. Historically, other sports programs within this district, football, basketball, volleyball, wrestling, just to name a few, have had access to in-school weight room, weight training, tailored for their specific sport needs, as well as access to district-provided trainers. Historically, the hockey program has not. Historically, all clubs from language club to the cosmetics club have had access to a district hired sponsor or teacher. Historically, the hockey program has not. Yet the athletic directors and superintendent have decided to pull the district's recognition of this hockey club as of 11/2/21. As such, the club cannot reference any connection to the district, participate in the yearbook, which last year, by the way, the JV program was not listed in the Libertyville High School yearbook. Be recognized in school announcements, participate in winter awards. Yet the seniors on the varsity team of our hockey program will get something this year, but no other student will. And also use the district facilities for team training. We have never had that. They base this not on the behavior that was conducted by the student body spectators, some being football players, might I add, but because of mask mandates. Please review the documentation that I shared with the board via email regarding various sports, clubs, and classes, as well as administration and parents not complying with mask mandates during events hosted by the District 128 school grounds. Specifically, we can mention that some of those websites that I used, that I referred to, was from Dr. K. The ISM HA mask mandate from August 4th indicates for all sports, except diving and swim, must comply with mask mandates within the buildings.
Ms. Gale, I just want to give you a heads up. That's 3 minutes. So if you could wrap up, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Yet this does not seem to apply to all sports within the district. Again, see the images that I did share, where it does show that there are students, staff, and players on all of these different sports and school promoted activities like homecoming that weren't wearing the masks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Sandy Ballo.
I want to thank the board for allowing me to speak. It's going to be kind of the same thing, I guess. It is about Libertyville, Vernon Hills Ice Cat hockey team. The reason why I'm interested in this is because my grandson plays JV. Came home about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, very distraught because he was told that he was no longer playing for Libertyville. Libertyville has decided to drop the club sport of the Ice Cats. Yeah, he could have played on anybody's team, but he wanted to play for his school. And I asked him why. Why would they do that? And he gave me 2 reasons, none of which I can believe Libertyville would do. So I guess I'll share what he told me. He said that, I think it was Brian McDonald, who is sports coordinator, I think, of Vernon Hills, and I don't remember the other gentleman's name, for Libertyville, happened to go to a varsity hockey game. And they noted that the players were not wearing masks. So my question is, did you inform the coaches on that hockey team that these kids are supposed to wear masks? I was told no. They were not informed of that. They probably know what the rules are, but they weren't corrected that the kids didn't have masks on. And then they went to a second varsity hockey game. And again, those players did not have masks on. So you're going to totally punish all hockey players because the varsity hockey team didn't wear masks. I find that incredible. My kids went to Libertyville High School. My brothers, him and Mike Wetzel, went to Libertyville High School. And now my grandsons. And it's always been a very equitable school. I mean, they've always been very fair. And I consider this unfair. Want to not punish the varsity for not wearing masks, that's fine. But you're punishing every skater, including the JV. And I don't think that's fine. I want to know why. So I'm kind of repeating what Tammy Gale said, I guess. The other thing was I had heard that there were not going to be any letters given out, which saddened my grandson and me since I bought him a Letterman's jacket, which is not cheap. Instead, you're going to give certificates. You can't pin a certificate on a Letterman's jacket. And even if you gave a letter to the seniors, whoever wears their school jacket once they graduate the school, doesn't make any sense to me. And I can't believe it's for money, because taxes are high enough around here. You should surely be able to afford the L's. I just bought one. They're not real expensive. I put on my grandson's jacket. So I need an answer to that, and I need an answer to the fact of why you're going to punish all the kids. I mean, if you saw a kid in school.
Ms. Fellow, that's over 3 minutes.
Well, one more thing. I heard that there was a fight.
Ms. Bello, after 3 minutes, someone from the district will get back to you because you've left us your contact information, and we will be happy to answer your questions.
Well, this is kind of different. I'd like an answer to that too. So.
I understand, and someone will discuss it with you, but we do limit public comment to 3 minutes, and I need to be fair to everybody.
When they get back to me, can I ask them this other question?
Of
Am I allowed
course.
to do that? And they can
Of
answer
course.
it?
Of course.
Okay, so the question is, why does the whole hockey team get punished for the varsity, what the varsity did? And I'd like to know why they're not getting letters.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to address the board? Because those were the only sign-in comments that we have, but any other members of the public wishing to speak are welcome to do so now. Okay, seeing none, we are going to move on to the president's report. And we have some student recognition. We're very happy to see we have some students and coaches here in full effect. I think Dr. Gilliam?
Dr. K first.
Dr. K first, okay.
Well, we are at Libertyville High School very proud to honor a student in absentia tonight because we have our fall sports awards banquet tonight, and that student is at the sports awards being honored in front of all of her peers and teammates. So we just want to take a moment to recognize Maggie Faulkner. She took 6th place in the Illinois High School Association Class 2A Girls Tennis State Tournament. So all of Libertyville High School is very proud of her, and we're celebrating her in person back at the school. I wanted the board and the community to know about Maggie's great accomplishments, and I will be bringing her this award certificate tomorrow. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for coming. Congratulate her. We're sorry for the conflict, but we're very happy that you joined us so we could make public her recognition. Okay, Dr. G.
Hi, everybody. Dr. Gilliam. I'm the principal of Vernon Hills High School, and I am pleased to be able to announce a couple different programs with some exceptional results here this fall. First, I want to bring up Valde Nambo. Come on up, Valde. Give him a hand. We're still on? Okay. So this is Valde, and I've been fortunate enough over the last handful of years to see a lot of soccer. I have 4 kids. They all play soccer. 2 boys that have been in the boys soccer program. And I'm here to tell you that this kid can play soccer. Number 10 for the Cougars. Coach McCall, you couldn't be here this evening. But he speaks as highly of Valde as he has for any athlete that I've heard him talk about. And it's not just because he's a stellar soccer player. It's because he's a fine young man. And it was a pleasure for me to watch him this year, but actually over the last 4 years. My son was a senior when Coach brought Valde up as a freshman to play in those playoffs that year. And at that time, I remember thinking, okay, this guy's going to be good. And he sure was. Here's some accolades. All right. He won 2 regional championships in 2 years. He was all sectional 2 years as a 10th and 11th grader, 3-time all conference CSL player, 2-time all Daily Herald team. He led the team this year with 14 goals. Pretty incredible ones, especially towards the end. And then this year was the only 3rd player in all of Vernon Hills boys soccer history to be ever named All-State. Valde Nambo, congratulations.
Thanks. Congratulations, Valde. Congratulations on a great season.
Take a picture.
Oh, picture. Oh, I can't believe it. Okay.
Board president. Yeah.
This next group of athletes is a special group, and I'm going to bring up their coach, who is no stranger to this podium. In the last 8 years, Coach Curry has brought her team to this board meeting every fall, or 6 of those 8 falls, to recognize her state qualifying cross-country team, and that's a 1st, 2nd, or 3rd place visit. They have had an amazing string. Much of that I consider due to a phenomenal coach and her coaching staff, which Coach Curry will introduce. But it was a pleasure to watch them run and then celebrate their 3rd place in state finish just a couple weeks ago. Was it a week ago? A week plus ago. So let's bring up Coach Curry and she can introduce the girls. Coach.
Thank you. I just want to thank the board for taking the time out of their busy meeting to recognize us, and the student board reps for being here as well, and all the parents for coming to support their kids. Like Dr. G said, it's good to be back, especially in person and be at this meeting. It's been a couple years, and so it's really good to be back with this group and celebrate their accomplishments. So they make it look easy. I assure you it's not easy what they do day in and day out. These girls work really hard, starting in June all the way through November. So, they're just a great bunch of kids, and I just want to introduce each of them and give them their certificate as they come up here. So first, actually, I want to introduce my assistant coaches. New this year, we have Lauren Perchatsky. Come on over. Great addition to our program this year. We stole her from the PE department, and fortunate enough to get her, and she's been a great addition to this program, and I'm hoping that she'll stick around for many, many years, even when I'm gone. So it's been great having her along. And then Coach McDonald, come on up. McDonald, is this working? Coach McDonald was new last year, but last year, as you guys know, it wasn't very normal. Not a lot of the things that we did this year, we didn't do last year. So kind of like a first year for her as well. So, and she's been an excellent addition as well. And it's been really good to have an all-female staff for a female sport. every time I step in the room full of coaches, I'm usually one of the only females in the room. So we actually got some comments at the state meet saying how cool it was seeing an all-female staff up there. So really proud of that as well. So first up, we have one of our alternates. We have Rachel Ackerman. Rachel is a junior. Next up, we have another junior. We're very junior heavy. So Emma Anderson. Next up, we have one of our seniors, Ella Bohm. Next up, we have a freshman, Kristen Lee. Another senior, Jasmine Paulson. Sorry. And another senior, Emma Wakefield. And now these are the 7 girls that ran at the state meet. We have freshman Jory Ellen. Sophomore Jaden Parker. Freshman Clara Sheridan. Another junior, Rose Sheridan. Another junior, Hannah Thomas. And another junior, we have Anna Todd. Anna was 4th place in the regional, and she was 14th place in state, so she earned all state honors this year as a junior. And then Raina Hill is another junior. She was our CSL North champion this year in the conference. She was 11th place in the state meet, placing all state. So congratulations. So as you can see, we have, I think only 3 seniors up here. So we have 11 girls coming back. We're going to definitely miss these seniors a lot. They brought a lot to our program, but with 11 out of 14 coming back, we hope we're right back here next November. So plan on it, hopefully. Those guys fill in.
Camera is so funny.
Thank you, Lucy.
Wait just 1 second. Just 1 second.
1 second, hold on.
We just want to also acknowledge the parents, because we know to support athletes that compete at this level, it takes a village, and without the parents' commitment and dedication, it wouldn't be possible to achieve the kind of results that these athletes did. So we're going to all give the parents a warm round of applause as well. Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening. Hey. Oh, yes, and I should add, you're of course welcome to stay if you would like.
Thank you.
Stole that right from Princess. I just used to always thank the parents, and I thought it was such a nice thing. Okay.
They have some students back here.
All right, we are ready to invite our student school board representatives to share their reports. I will hand it over to you.
All right, so November began with a feared, dreaded, but very important day for high school seniors. College's November 1st deadline for early decision and early action. Seniors spent months preparing their applications, asking for recommendation letters, and choosing schools to apply to. This, combined with the fogginess that COVID has brought upon and shaping their application, led to a very stressful time for a lot of seniors. They packed our College and Career Resource Center trying to shape the perfect application. In talking to seniors, they said that the day brought a lot of anxiety, but as most things that bring a lot of pressure, they were very relieved to get out of their minds, at least for a little while right after. Moving on to more of our school-wide projects, a mainstay of Libertyville High School is our WISH program that we hold every year for providing gifts during the holidays for underprivileged families. And normally, in a normal school year, our second period classes would take on that task, but with COVID, the process has kind of changed a little bit. Many classes, however, have decided to still uphold this tradition and process of buying gifts and raising funds for families, especially upperclassmen classes, because they know kind of how it's been run in the past, and it's a really great thing that Libertyville provides. So classes are taking their own time to raise funds by selling drinks and food to be consumed outside of school, or asking local businesses to donate to provide funds for gifts that can be given to families that are given to you. Also, clubs and organizations like NHS have decided to help adopt families as well. And talking with some of my friends that their classes have taken up the opportunity, they love the semi-return to normalcy with WISH. As I said in the past, it was a mainstay of Libertyville. Like every year, it is something we hung our hats on. It was a great program that we all ran, and they're just glad to have it back in any capacity. This weekend is our food pantry canned food drive blitz that is being run by our student council. Volunteers throughout the past couple of weeks have passed out flyers to homes in the Libertyville community and for local families to bring food and leave it out for volunteers to pass or to pick up in this coming Saturday. Our student volunteers have been given designated zones to pick up food from, and the food that we pick up will be donated to the Libertyville Township Food Pantry and a local church, St. Joseph's Food Pantry. Last Thursday, on Veterans Day, Libertyville High School offered a military appreciation breakfast and activities for students and staff with parents or themselves active military personnel and veterans. Overall, it was kind of a smaller event, but from what I've heard, it was a huge success. And also students that are interested or have committed to post-high school military positions were also invited to kind of be there and be able to ask questions and kind of get more of a idea of what it is to be expected when they go or if they go. 2 weeks ago was our Red Ribbon Week, which, as I talked about at our last meeting, focused on clean bodies and clean minds. Participation in events throughout the week was very evident. Lots of students and staff were buying into the days and making sure that they did everything for the impact of the message to be felt on every student. As I said in the past, it culminated into a health fair that was held in our library with tables on everything related to mental health and physical health. And it was packed. Students during their lunch periods or free periods when they're were able to have open discussions about certain questions they had about their health or to learn further about certain things. I personally took my Link Crew kids there and had a great time. They loved the comfort dogs that were there. So overall, it was just a great success. And then finally, in the weeks coming up to Thanksgiving, Libertyville has been working on pushing gratitude out to the students and the staff to kind of take pause and be grateful for all the great things in their life. Link Crew throughout this week is writing letters for their teachers to thank them for helping them throughout their first busy year as a freshman. And many teachers are pushing the message across their classes on a daily basis, not just to be recognized during a time where Thanksgiving is approaching, where we all take pause to think of the things we're grateful for, but in their everyday life to be grateful for all that they have been given to them and all the things that they have. So I'll pass it on to Ryan.
Tonight is Fall Sports Awards, which marks the end of the fall athletic season. The swim and dive team had their state tournament this past weekend with a lot of success. The diving team had 2 individuals compete in the preliminary finals, Maddie Rupert and Allie Humbert. The swim team had individuals Sophia Tiunlis placed 11th overall in backstroke and Georgia Collar placed 8th overall in breaststroke, both receiving all-state honors. Their 200 free relay team also placed 7th overall with all-state honors. Congratulations to all of them. The cross-country team also had their state tournament the weekend before. The girls team placed 21st overall, and boys Jack Hamilton and Ali Fayez ran their lifetime best races. It has been a while since teams were able to travel and stay overnight for sports, so I reached out to a couple members of the girls cross-country team about their experience, who said it felt relatively normal as well as COVID safe. All individuals had to be either vaccinated or tested before the trip, and they wore masks on the bus ride, within the hotel, and indoors, except for while sleeping. They roomed with one other roommate, and although they found it difficult to wear masks within their hotel room, they were grateful that those precautions allowed them to travel and stay together. Overall, they said, it felt like a very normal state experience. Winter sports wrapped up tryouts and have begun practicing and competing. The boys bowling team started us off well with a second-place win in their first competition of the year. National Signing Day was November 10th, where many of our student athletes sign with the colleges they are continuing their athletic career with. One athlete talked about how it was a surreal moment for her because it's finally a tangible way for her to see the hard work in her future materialize. She said the school does a great job of celebrating their accomplishments and making the day a big deal. There have also been academic opportunities for students within these past few weeks. One of these is the Apple Language Test, which assesses language abilities through reading, writing, speaking, and listening. If you pass all 4 sections, you receive the Seal of Biliteracy, which recognizes proficiency in 2 or more languages by high school graduation. This award could provide opportunities for students in the future, so it's great that LHS offers us this test to take. I tested in the French language, and although going into the test I expected it to be impossible, I was pleasantly surprised to find that it was similar to the tests I've taken in my past 4-year French classes. Other students I talked to felt the same way in their languages, so that's just a testament to our teachers for preparing us really well to succeed. This is also the time of year where many students focus on keeping their grades up and are beginning to think about finals. Libertyville is implementing a change this year in the final schedule. Instead of having a formal finals week with each class giving a test worth 10 to 20% of the total grade, there's a new system that is much more flexible. Finals are not necessary for each subject, and teachers have more of a say in how their final is given. This week, some of my teachers have begun to talk about their plans for finals, and I have a wide variety. Some classes have no final, one is a final project rather than a test, and a couple are having a classic final. One consideration many AP teachers have is to prepare their students for the AP test at the end of the year. So it seems more common to have a typical final test in an AP class compared to the others. Although they may not be worth the full 20% in the gradebook, teachers want them to serve as a practice test. In some other classes, however, teachers believe students would benefit more from the extra teaching and learning time rather than taking a test-style final. A commonly cited concern among parents is that this new system will not adequately prepare students for college finals. However, many students I've talked to are more concerned with their grades now than preparing for future tests that seem far off in the eyes of most. Upperclassmen have now experienced finals week in the past, as well as last year without finals, and overwhelmingly feel less stressed about their grades now than if we were to have a finals week this year. Similarly, underclassmen will be experiencing their first finals, but have less on their plate than they would in past years. I'll pass it off to Faith. Good evening. So, LHS always puts a great deal of care into creativity and artistic abilities of our students. Students that are involved in our fine arts department are constantly putting lots of effort in their talents and displaying them, positively representing our school to the community. Last week, on the 10th, we held a fall festival choir event that was originally postponed because of questions of COVID. This event was finally held, and it was inviting middle schoolers from Oak Grove and Highland. Every year since I've been a freshman, we have done this concert with the middle schoolers, and I remember the value I gained from it when I was a middle schooler, visiting the big high school kids at the school that seems so big compared to my Highland Middle School. Being able to see the love for music these kids have at such a young age and the excitement of wanting to go into choir to expand that love for music made me so happy, and others as well. There was tons of positive feedback from the students I had in my group and other groups as well. We had different groups set up where there was about 2 high school kids for leaders of each group of the middle schoolers. And Dr. Brown especially showed the culture and environment of LHS not only in choir and fine arts, but overall as a school and as a community. The students came during 6th, 7th, and 8th period and were shown some songs from the high schoolers that we sang to them. And then we sang songs that they also learned along with us. On the 18th, the Harvest Band concert will be held to display all the hard work students have been putting into their instrumental skills and to finally allow parents to see their kids doing something they love, not over a Zoom screen, but in person and of course with safe COVID precautions. Matilda was an absolute hit and went so well. I heard from many students that not only the cast, but also the crew and the behind the scenes put such a great show on, and everyone was saying how much they loved it and how it felt so much like it did when we, before COVID happened. It was so refreshing to see after not having a fall musical since 2019, which seems like forever ago. Students finally got to witness that again and see friends and family participate in the musical. Students also participated in ILMEA, which is a state vocal competition, on November 6th. Seeing the work and dedication these students put in their vocal ability is so impressive to me, and I have several fellow peers in choir that participated in it, such as Mark II, Emmeline Frey, and etc. I also think it very well displays the amazing staff such as Dr. Brown and Mrs. Birmingham we have to help them through the difficult songs they have to learn and the vocal control they have to practice, not only on their own, but with the help of our staff. Libertyville High School will also be hosting the Feeder Art Show on November 16th. Our school has been holding this event for years to display the young artistic talent of students K through 8 feeding into LHS from schools such as Roundout, Highland, Oak Grove, Copeland, Rockland, Butterfield, and Adler. So in conclusion, LHS has and will continue to have this amazing enthusiasm in our fine arts department and throughout the school.
As John was saying, nowadays with the pressure of competitive acceptance rates and also wanting to know our future plans as soon as possible, many seniors chose to apply early action or early decision. But the one downside of this application is how fast that it comes up. A lot of seniors had to miss school and take a college day in order to finish all their applications on time. Students felt like they needed time off from school because with things like homework, sports, and jobs, working on the applications after school just was not enough time. For example, the Friday before the deadline, more than half of my bio class wasn't there because they all needed more time to finish their essays. A lot of students also felt pressure on deciding which schools they want to apply to, if they should send in test scores or not, or if they should apply to honors colleges. But Mrs. Belito has helped relieve a lot of stress by looking at our applications, helping read our essays, and answering any questions that we have. And Mrs. Rolick was also a big help with making sure that all the documents were sent on time for the deadline and helping seniors figure out when and where things needed to be submitted. The purpose of our freshman transition class is to help students transition into high school and be as successful as possible. The main focus this year is to help them find their home in Vernon Hills, which is why last Friday during freshman transition, a few seniors were able to give advice on what they wish they knew their own freshman year. The seniors gave a variety of advice, like why freshman year is important, the positives of taking honors or AP classes, and how to get involved in different sports and clubs. The freshmen were also able to ask questions on things they were concerned about, like how to manage homework and a social life, which classes to take, and study tips for big tests. This made a lot of freshmen feel relieved after being able to talk with upperclassmen who already experienced the things that they were nervous about. A few weeks ago, we had our Red Ribbon Week. One of the days we had the healthy lifestyle fair in the foyer during all lunch periods. There were tons of different booths for students to visit, and they all had engaging activities that got the students involved and excited to learn more. For example, there was a booth where you put your hand in a bucket of ice water, and the goal is to keep it there for a minute and a half. While you did this, the booth workers explained to you the benefits of taking cold showers, like decreasing stress and anxiety. And now on to Sophia.
So last Wednesday, our choir program had its first back in-person concert. Seventh graders from the Hawthorne Middle Schools joined us in one of the most visually engaging concerts we've ever put on. Mr. Little worked so hard to create so many different elements in this performance, and it came out wonderfully. We had members from our Sign Language Club and Indian Student Association join us on stage, as well as student drummers from the choir program itself showcase their skills. One choir even had a song which required the auditorium lights to be turned off completely as they synchronized a flashlight routine while singing. It was amazing to watch and engage the audience in all of our performances. Additionally, the music repertoire was one of the most diverse we've ever performed, with songs from all over the world being incorporated. The middle schoolers enjoyed interacting with the high schoolers, and we were trying our best to get to know them and encourage them to keep participating in the arts due to a lack of students involved this year. The Academic Resource Center has been talking about starting a new program involving tutoring for the SAT and ACT. In our Arc in the Dark, or evening tutoring sessions, the space will start providing special sessions for kids seeking to get better scores on standardized tests. With so many students getting private teachers and paying for study programs, the ARC thinks it would be very beneficial to offer a space in the school that is already designed to be more accessible. These sessions are still being talked about and will most likely start out after the new year. Give me a second. Okay. Our fall musical, James and the Giant Peach, showed a very successful return to post-quarantine theater. With 3 sold-out shows and many children filling up our seats, it ended up being a very fun show to perform. Every night, the crowds felt very energetic, which really fed into our energy on stage and made the show even better. Although masks were still worn, the actors worked with physicality on stage for months in preparation to still convey the story and not let COVID take away from the performance. It was honestly a different approach to acting than ever before, and it was really interesting for me and for other actors to switch it up for once. Our annual senior citizens show, however, did change quite a bit due to the elderly being a high-risk population. The attendance was lower than usual. Now, we usually tell the cast that the senior citizens will either take the time to fall asleep or sneak out early to get food in the foyer, but that wasn't really the case this year. They remained engaged all the way to the ending number and even gave us a standing ovation during the bows. Being able to entertain them again was so fun, and hopefully next year they can get their post-show meal back. Our Saturday matinee was also open to the middle schoolers from the Hawthorne district. That show was one of the most fun due to the kids in the audience and how excited they were. We even got to go out and sign autographs as our characters afterwards, which is probably my favorite memory from the whole run of the show. Overall, the show was so fun, and I'd like to thank the board for letting the theater kids, especially the seniors, have one last musical experience. Like Faith said, it really did help bring the magic back from what we had before COVID.
All right. So we already talked about this, but congrats to the girls cross country team for placing 3rd at the IHSA state finals. Again, amazing job on their behalf. Also, congrats to Emma Zhang and Elise Lichtenstein for qualifying for the IHSA girls swim and dive meet. We also had Isabella Ramos for girls swim and dive that placed 12th in the women's 200 IM, which makes her a all-state member. Due to the change in weather, lunchrooms have become full again. Less kids are going out to lunch and eating outside, so they are moving to the cafeteria. In the beginning of the year with COVID protocol, teachers tried to allow only 5 kids to each table, but this has slowly faded away because we don't have enough space to do this in our new cafeteria. Speaking about the new cafeteria, it looks amazing, but kids can obviously tell that it is short-staffed. Every day, we are being served the same food because, again, we just don't have the staff to just change up the menu, which is totally fine. We wish it was possible to experience the cafeteria the way it was meant after the construction. Again, like the coffee room or the barista area hasn't been developed yet, and hopefully soon that will be something that we can all experience. While in the cafeteria, masks are allowed to be taken off for you to eat with your friends. This is kind of weird for most of us because throughout the rest of the school, teachers are constantly like yelling at us or just at least just telling us to try to put on our masks and wear them properly and stay away from everyone. But once you step foot in that cafeteria, you're immediately allowed to take off your mask and sit inches away from everyone, and like it's basically like COVID's gone in that specific area. But and because of this, after the lunch periods, the students that come to their next class are having trouble adjusting to wearing the masks after that 45-minute period of just being with their friends and being all close to each other. And so, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Couple of super fast comments. Ryan, you mentioned finals, and I will say that not only is that something that we've implemented in the district, but I think when students find themselves at the university level, they'll see that the teachers, the professors, the TAs all have the same autonomy to either give a traditional final, assign a project, use that as instructional time. So it very much mirrors what the college experience will be. Yeah. Did you want to say something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say how I think, I don't think it's COVID that changed it necessarily, but I feel like we've come a long way with finals. How I feel like when I was a freshman and thinking about finals, and not even just like adjusting from being a freshman to a senior, but I think they physically have changed in the stress levels that they have on us as students, because I think teachers either haven't been deciding to do finals, which is, obviously a lot weight of taken off our shoulders and stuff. But also I think the way that teachers have been going about talking about finals is a lot less intimidating. And they've been creating a more comfortable environment with how, it's not the end of the world. Like if you have an A in the class, don't spend 6 hours a day studying for the final, like obviously you don't want to flunk it, but you obviously want to prioritize how much studying you're doing for each class based on your grade. And I just think the way that they've been talking about it is like really effective.
Yeah. Well, I think the educational philosophy has evolved in terms of assessments. And while assessments are still important and they're going to be part of the educational world, I think the emphasis is on learning. And there's a lot of different ways to assess learning in addition to a final exam or as an alternative to a final exam. So I think, our teachers are continuing to evolve the way that, education in general, both at the K through 12 and university level has. So thanks for bringing that up. And then finally, Sophia, you mentioned something really interesting. If the information is available at some point next year, will you update us how many students have signed up for the test prep in the ARC? Because I think, there are students that take advantage of private tutoring, but between Khan Academy and the free resources that are now available with the ARC, I think it'd be very interesting to see how many students take advantage of that. So if you are inclined, let us know in a couple of months how many students take part of that.
Yeah,
So.
I'm part of the executive board, so I can actually talk with Dr. Young and stuff when it gets started and keep updating.
Great. Very interesting. Great job, all. Thank you so much. Okay. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Herman for the superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. And we will start off this evening with good news. And I don't think there's too much overlap to what you all reported from the student perspective. The following D128 students were selected to the IMEA, Illinois Music Education Association, District 7 festivals. From LHS Choir, Abby Harrison, Isabel Rudolphi, Sophia Rhines, Timothy Schumann, Megan Snow, and Mark Tu. In jazz, George Foster, George Huber, Gavin Johnson, Christian Larson, and Owen Gore. In band, Nick Anderson, George Foster, Cameron Wang, and Grant Karazakos, and Sarah Kim, Yelim Na, Evan Pittman, Sophie Verkolen, and CJ Villani. And lastly, orchestra, Chloe Chan, David Friedman, George Huber, Nicholas Ignino, and Gavin Johnson.
Congratulations to all of them.
To Vernon Hills High School, same IMEA. In choir, Joycelyn Bettarelli, Laura Doler, Sophia Gonzalez Bernier.
Yay, Sophia.
Yay. Danielle Hewitt, Neil Mehta, Jessica Shin, and Annika Urbanaz. In band, Anakia Amaro, Karen Kai, Ryan Cerulli, Joshua Kalankowski, Tyler Park, Ashley Rokaz, Irene Yu, and Madeline Zimmerman. And orchestra, Adam Brand, Jeffrey Brahms, Jason Frega, Noah Kim, Sophia Kim, Kaylee Kim, John Lee, Evan Shao, and David Wu. After the district festivals, the top students from each Illinois MEA district will be selected for the state festival in January. Being selected to the state festival is the highest individual honor a high school musician can receive. So we will keep the board updated on that. Next up, we have 12 members of our D128 Special Olympics team that have been selected to represent Team Illinois in unified soccer at the Special Olympics USA Games, June 5th through 12th at ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex in Orlando, Florida. Participating team members are Liam Angelos, Luke Angelos, Bridget Bulletin, David Dubois, Eric Eitel, Albina Giza, Noah Hewitt, Joseph Maller, Chase Miller, Chris Morozen, Haley Spytek, and Nicole Spytek. The athletes will be accompanied by Coach Andy Compton and Coach Vince DeLuca. Again, huge honor. A few more good news for students. We have senior from LHS, Ellen Bafika, is the school's representative of this year's DAR Good Citizens Award. The Good Citizens Program and Scholarship Contest encourages and rewards the qualities of good citizenship, dependability, service, leadership, and patriotism. LHS sophomore Samuel Kim won the Chicago Chamber Music Concerto competition. He will perform the St. Cian's Concerto for Piano in G minor, Op. 22, with the Northeastern Illinois Symphony Orchestra on November 18th. And NIU is hosting its annual High School Invitation Art Show this fall as a virtual gallery. Artwork by the following Vernon Hills High School students has been selected for display in the show: Callie Bennett, Kara Lee, Divya Mudimbi, and Brandon Smith. Congratulations to those students. And lastly, today is a very special day to recognize the outstanding efforts of nearly 6,000 elected school board members throughout the state. November 15th of each year is designated as School Board Members Day in Illinois. Yay! This is an opportunity to build community awareness and understanding about the essential role locally elected Board of Education members assume in a representative democracy. The theme of this year's day is inspiration and leadership, which is what each of our board members brings to our schools and our community. On behalf of our staff, students, and community, thank you for your commitment to our school district. For each of you, and if everyone, we just did that, could join me in a round of applause, and we would like to take a photograph as well. So thank you to the school board members. And I will give you certificates while we go over by Mary to take a photograph.
Do you want to take it over here? Yeah. Let's just push these chairs in.
Thank you.
You can kind of move the.
Got a cord.
I'll just stand towards the back.
Yep. Are you?
You?
No, not so much. I don't usually find myself in the back row.
No.
I usually get pushed to the front.
Huh?
Thank you. I'm gonna stand in front of the tall one. Yeah, I know. I will. The tall one. Why don't you get in front? I'm medium-ish. Yeah. Yeah, this works. Actually, we just
That's
do 4 and 3. Yes, you've done a little. Perfect. Good. I'm not going to. Okay.
Nice.
Smiles.
Congratulations.
Remember that year we all had to wear
Thank you.
masks?
Yeah.
Okay, next up for the strategic plan update. One of the things that I'm going to be sharing with all of the board members is a link to our strategic planning data profile. It has all of the information on our student demographics. It has about 75% of the things we're hoping to gather for student learning. The last thing that will be added will be grade distributions by course. In December, we'll be gathering some information on some of the perception surveys, and then finally an audit of our programs and processes. That will be a large document. It already is over 200 pages. So rather than waiting until January to share that with you, I'm going to share that with each of you now. So as you have time to start dabbling, we can have it be a more conversation between us. One of the other things that I do when I share that, I'll be sending out some open slots in my calendar so we can maybe meet again one-on-one where you can ask specific questions of me about the data that you're looking at. So that I wanted to make sure we didn't get too far ahead and generate too much data that each of you felt overwhelmed looking at it. Again, once all of this is complete, this will be something we do present to the whole public. So this document will be eventually, shared as part of our strategic plan. But I wanted to make sure the board was seeing some of the data as it was coming together. It's very fascinating. So you should look for that in the next day or two in your email. And Bryant has our COVID-19 update.
Thank you. Again, our numbers are updated. COVID numbers are updated on our dashboard, so anyone can go to the COVID dashboard. And we have two things that we kind of look at. We've got our data that we're monitoring. Again, we're looking at the positivity rate in Lake County, Libertyville zip code, and Vernon Hills zip code. I'm set to update it again in the middle of this week. Looking kind of at the numbers from the beginning of November, Libertyville is at 2.31% positivity, Vernon Hills at 1.77%, and looking just from today, actually, it's around the same numbers, but I'll update it the middle of this week on our dashboard. Vaccination coverage, again, our vaccination rate for staff and students continue to keep rising. I do know that we also have people getting the booster shot. We're not keeping track of those numbers yet, but that should be helping. Also with the vaccinations being available for the younger students, that's going to help us because those are siblings at home. Those are also children of our staff. So anything we can do to promote, even though they're not our students, they're District 73, District 70, Oak Grove, Roundout, anything we can promote those students getting the vaccine will help our whole, staff and families. We're still screening unvaccinated athletes and unvaccinated students in some of our extracurricular activities, which is changing over from some of our fall sports and with the musicals ending. So there's some more different students that are testing. If students were fall athletes and still winter, they're still testing. Unvaccinated staff are testing, and we do have some staff that are voluntarily testing each week with shield testing. That'll still continue on, each week. And there's no major clusters or outbreaks. We're still doing test to stay also. So, one of the things that we were allowed to do for vaccinated students, that if they were, first of all, if they're vaccinated students, obviously they can stay in if they're a close contact. We do recommend testing 3 to 5 days after exposure, which our nurses have been helping with. If they're unvaccinated and they're close contact in a classroom, we've been doing test to stay, and that has helped to keep some of our unvaccinated students in the classroom. So,
A couple quick questions.
Sure.
Do you know when Lake County is going to start adjusting their metrics for newly eligible vaccinated population, which is going to affect the percentages?
No, but we could probably find out this week. I know our nurses have a meeting usually weekly, and Dr. Herman has a meeting weekly with Lake County. So that is a good question. So when those eligible from 5 to 12 get thrown in the mix, all those percentages for Lake County and Libertyville will change. Our percentages of our students and staff won't change at all.
Right. So when we see the county numbers change, we have to keep in mind that's going to be a transition.
Correct. The county numbers are 60% right now. And so when you add in the 5 to 12, I wonder what that'll look like.
Sure. And then for any staff or students who are vaccinated but want to get tested, is that available for them to do in our buildings?
But right now we have the ability for our staff to voluntarily test and without any symptoms, they can use our shield. We just don't have the capability if all of our students wanted to voluntarily test. But if they're having symptoms or other things, they can work with our nurses. And, we also are referring to them there are a lot of free places to test. So we have a whole list on our website of places in the community where people can get tests if they're not feeling well in their home, they shouldn't come into school and do a test. But if they're at school and then they start feeling symptoms, our nurses will work with them.
Perfect. Sounds great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next on the agenda is the 2021 Illinois School Report Card. And Dr. Fisher gave an excellent presentation last week, and it was my error to not remove that from my superintendent's report again. So we are not having a repeated presentation. It was riveting, but we are looking forward. The next presentation will be in December, as she indicated. And then finally, did you have a comment? Okay. Finally, we did have one FOIA request. It was received on November 1st. It was requested by Sean Gay, and the information requested was information regarding ice cats and communications between district staff and parents and between district staff. We replied to that on 11/5, indicating that it was a voluminous request, and we did hear back. And the person still wants us to go forward, and so we will be continuing to work on that throughout this week. And that's everything from my report.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, we are going to move on to the consent vote agenda. Casey, I don't think you heard me mention, but item 3C1, the location for the baseball trip has changed. So we're going to separate that out and vote on it separately. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the amended consent vote agenda.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Great. Any discussion? Okay.
While I was not in attendance, I did listen to the meeting, so I'm up to speed and feel okay voting on the consent vote agenda.
Terrific. Thank you for mentioning that. Okay, then can we have roll call, please?
Batson.
Aye.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Drumkey.
Aye.
Hessel.
Aye.
Kulkarni.
Aye.
Rooney.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. So now would be the time for us to discuss the LHS baseball educational tour request to Phoenix, Arizona for spring break.
Yes, and so the original trip proposal from the baseball team that we reviewed at the PNP committee was a trip to Phoenix. And since that conversation, head coach Matt Thompson began to ascertain and verify that the team would actually have games available to play while in Arizona, and was not having success to the degree that he hoped. And so he began to investigate other locations where the games might be more readily available. And so you have in the packet a renewed proposal to have the baseball team from Libertyville travel to Orlando, Florida. Same dates and anticipated costs may be similar. The original proposal said approximately $1,000 per student. We're looking now perhaps at about $1,500, but they're doing fundraising to offset that cost as well. And they do have confirmed dates and an insurance and refund guarantee that is linked also to the proposal. This is the same organization that Sean Farrell had presented on the LHS softball trip to Orlando. So the two proposals now would be going to the same destination and using the same organization to plan the games that they'll participate in. We're asking you to approve this now with the new location rather than the trip that we discussed in more detail at PNP.
Great. So I'm going to ask for a motion to approve that. And if we do have a motion in a second, then we can have any discussion.
I motion to approve the baseball trip to Orlando, Florida as presented.
Second.
Great. Any discussion or questions?
Coach Thompson's been doing this for a long time. I have every confidence that he will pull off another great trip.
All right. Anyone else have any comments, questions?
No.
Discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Drumkey. Hessel.
Aye.
Kulkarni.
Aye.
Rooney.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Great. Motion passes. Thank you. I will turn it over to Dr. Batson for the PNP committee.
Thank you. We have two items on the PNP agenda. First one is the 2022-2023 curriculum proposals. So we'll begin with that. Dr. Fisher, do you have any overview you want to provide real quick?
Yes, we reviewed all of these proposals at the PNP committee meeting. We are hoping to offer a Calculus 3 honors class that would earn students dual credit with CLC, and we're working on the agreement to ensure that that will take place. We're also proposing a social studies department course, Understanding Perspectives, African American Studies, which is intended to be part of a series of courses that would be offered in the future to explore in greater depth the experience of multiple identities in U.S. and global society. And finally, we have a couple of name changes. The College Practicum English course is being changed to match the expectations of the community colleges and agreements for a transitional course in English, whereby a student who completes that course in high school would be qualified to take a credit-bearing course rather than a remedial course at the community college. So that name changes based on that agreement. And we're changing our English learner program names back to English learner rather than emergent multilingual, simply because it's a term that the state is using and that is more understood by the families that benefit from those services. So those are our requests, and happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you. And note that these were covered in some detail at our committee meeting, so we had quite a bit of time to discuss and go into some detail on all these changes. So I think we're ready to have a motion here. So. Okay. Any questions, comments from the board? Okay, hearing none. Can we have a roll call, please?
Carmichael,
Aye.
Drumkey, Hessel,
Aye.
Kulkarni,
Aye.
Rooney,
Aye.
Batson,
Aye.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. The second item on the program and personnel is certification and authorization of the FY21 performance recognition incentive. Again, this was discussed in committee earlier in the month.
Yeah, so we did go over this in committee. I shared the performance recognition incentive, the criteria that was set forth for this 3-year contract. This has been in place for the past several teacher contracts. And again, if a certain number of the markers are met, then our teachers, per the teacher union contract, would receive this performance incentive. So in this last one, there were 4 criteria. One of the criteria, due to the one that was set forth, there was not a base year, and so we only had 4 criteria, and we met 3 out of the 4 criteria. And the recommendation with 3 out of the 4 is that you're missing 1, and we recommend 1.5% for the performance recognition. We also, would be looking for authorization from the board tonight to authorize payment to our support staff and administrators, because again, we believe that everyone in the district supports the success of our students. So it's in the teacher union contract, but then we need the board to authorize payment and extend that to our support staff and administrators.
Okay, thank you. Can we have a motion, please?
Move to approve the certification and authorization of the fiscal year 21 performance recognition incentive.
Second.
Okay, any questions or comments by the board? No, hearing none. Roll call, please.
Drumkey,
Aye.
Hessel,
Aye.
Kulkarni,
Aye.
Rooney,
Aye.
Batson,
Aye.
Benjamin,
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes, and that concludes the Program and Personnel Committee report.
Thank you. That might be a record.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a chance that Chairperson Rooney is going to match that record time tonight, only because of the number of things on the agenda, but I could be wrong.
I was like, don't
one
throw
vote
a
for
challenge
another.
out.
No, it's just, I saw a lot of lines, but it's just one thing.
Sounds like a
So-
challenge to me.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm like, to me and Dan, you just threw a challenge down to me
Yeah,
and Dan.
yeah.
This is the wrong person I want to challenge.
Yeah, we really only have one thing, but it is a very, very important thing. And in keeping with the way we do things, we have discussed this at several board meetings and several committee meetings in depth. Dan, take it away.
Yeah, so this is the finalization of the process to secure 88% of the district's resources that we spend every year. So this is our levy process that is up for final adoption. No numbers have changed since our previous meeting, so those are still there. So what we are recommending is a 2.32% increase, which is based on a CPI of 1.4%. And so, but based on the way our allowable taxes are calculated, we anticipate getting not more than 2%, the way it's calculated, but we asked for 2.3 because, as we have talked, the way the math works is there's 2 variables in the formula that we won't know until the spring, and so we have to guess what they will be. We try to guess carefully and conservatively, and I feel that 2.3 puts us well within allowable risk. And so, yeah, if we do this, so the 2.3, that are the 2 that we're expecting, that would be the lowest increase we've had since 2016, which in that year, CPI was 0.7%. So the CPI is a big driver for that. So yeah, that's what we have. So the levy in total would be for $84,423,091. And there's several resolutions that go along with this, and you'll see the certificates. These are all the documentations that we talked about at previous meetings. So
That's basically telling where the money's going, which fund it's going into.
yeah, technically which levy it is. So we say levy, but it's separate levies that are technically happening, but we combine them all when we're talking about the number in total.
Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, hearing none, can I get a motion for the adoption of the certificate of the 2021 tax levy and the accompanying resolutions as listed?
So moved.
Second?
All right, motion passes.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Let's do a roll call.
Hessel.
Aye.
Kulkarni.
Aye.
Rooney.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Drumkey.
Okay, now the motion passes.
Our motion passes. We're on
And I am delighted to acknowledge when I am wrong. Chairperson Rudy, you win the prize for the fastest committee agenda of the evening.
Set the bar, though.
That was the fastest ever, in my experience. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Do we have an IASB report?
Just to thank Dr. Herman and the team for the wishes and the certificate. And I'll see many of you this weekend at the joint conference, co-sponsored by the Illinois Association of School Boards, where we'll do a lot of learning.
Forward to it.
Looking forward to it. Thank you. Okay, any CEDAL update?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, any future agenda items that we'd like to discuss?
I do have one, and I should have mentioned it beforehand, but before COVID got crazy, we had discussed the possibility of creating either a board committee or a superintendent's committee for all things environmental. So sustainable D128. I don't know if the committee has ever been fully formed or if it's met, but I would like to find out where we are there, and I would like to kind of get back into the swing of moving forward.
We can have that for sure.
Definitely. Thank you for bringing that back. It was something I know that you and Dr. Colentus had started the district sustainability initiative pre-COVID.
The man's filled with ideas. Yeah.
It's an interesting topic. I believe there's some session on geothermal. I was fortunate enough to visit McHenry High School about a week ago, and they're using geothermal energy as part of their initiative, in addition to solar energy and some other initiatives similar to that. So, yep, it's a great topic.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that back, and we look forward to discussing it further at probably next committee. Yeah, great. Anyone else have any future agenda items? Okay, with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Kulkarni.
Aye.
Rooney.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Drumkey.
Aye.
Hessel.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.